Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Just Bleed Radio. Today is Sunday, May 11th, 2025, and this is the Weekend Roundup. Bonjour from Montreal, fight fans, and welcome once again to the Weekend Roundup, the flagship program of Just Bleed Radio, the place where you come every Monday morning to get your summary for the events of the week in combat sports. My name is LazyBed, and once again, I will be your host. Now, before we begin, you know the deal. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. JBR is blowing up like alimony checks. You already know what it is. Now, as much as I love to hear myself talk, I can't bring myself to do this alone, so let me introduce you to two of my friends from two different parts of the globe. The first man hails from the land of fame and excess. He's no heiress or influencer, but he is our glamorous Californian exterminator. He's got bad knees and cauliflower ears. What's going on, Austin?
First up, I told you that in confidence about my knees. Like, I'm having a good time. This weekend has been fun. It's been the weather's actually been really warm and nice as of late. So I mean, perfect weather for Mother's Day, right? And honestly, despite my guy not winning in the main event, which put me back in the points, and that wasn't fun. But I had a great time watching the fights.
It was a good night of fights. Good night of fights, despite what many might have said coming into it. It turned out pretty well. But we got a second man here that I must introduce, and he is from the Shire of York, the Lothario of the Longsword Dance. Maybe he'll know what that is, even if you don't. He's not counting banana bushels, but he might be smoking on some Taliban. Mr. Mouse, a.k.a. DM, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I thought I was going to be drinking to drown my sorrows this evening. I thought I'd woken up in the early hours of this morning to hear that the future former champ had won, but as I was scrolling through YouTube, I accidentally saw the main event result. And happy days. 3-name Jack came through like an Aussie pirate, so I'm hoisting my drinks in his honor tonight. Yeah, pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Hoi hoi. All right. Well, before we get into the UFC talk today, guys, how about a little bit of banter for the bleeders? Now, it's been a week since we last got together. Outside of 315, what else did you guys watch this week? Who wants to go first? No special. You got anything you watched?
I watched Mobland and the one with Tom Hardy. It's a bit of a Tom Hardy theme as of late, but I kind of like it. I mean, it's different, and I'm used to like mob stuff. It's out of the UK, so Mouse probably has seen a little bit of it, and I'm enjoying watching it. The wife is kind of temperate on it. She likes Tom Hardy, but she's cool with it. And I mean, other than that, I mean, we've been packing the house, so it's just not much else we're doing.
I know you watched a little bit of the main card minute because I seen you in the chat for once.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Well, I have not seen this movie, but I know that most of the women folk tend to enjoy Tom Hardy, so not much surprise there.
That's very true. Very true.
All right, I'll squeeze in the middle here. For me, I got to go with, of course, LFA 208. I'm an LFA stan. This past Friday night, live from the Kaiser Permanente Center in Santa Cruz, California. It was a very fun show from the YouTube prelims all the way up and through the main card to the main event. A couple of guys that you're almost certain to see on Contender Series this August. One I absolutely cannot stand. He's an incredibly annoying but athletic heavyweight. Is on the smaller side of the division. But he really utilizes his agility and speed. He's a former college football player and a former member of the 49ers practice squad. His name is Kyle Hokett. Like I said, very annoying. Basically his entire gimmick is the Colby Covington shtick amped up to 10. So pretty annoying. But anyway, how good he'll be in the UFC, I'm not really sure. But we'll definitely be seeing him on Contender this year. They announced it after his fight. And then another guy that actually have high hopes for, 6'6" welterweight with a damn near 84-inch reach, the Sagat of MMA. It's Luis Franciscanelli. He's a nasty bastard. He strikes like a whip. Everything he throws hurts his opponents, and it's visible when he hits them. The smallest connection seems to send guys reeling. So yeah, he's very, very green at 5-0 now, but he's a born killer with natural finishing instinct, and I will not be the least bit surprised if we see him on Dana White's Contender Series this year. So look out for big old Luis Franciscanelli, who trains with EKC Leiden. But yeah, how about you, Danger Mouse? Lots of different programming across the pond. Catch anything on various avenues of media in the last week worth mentioning?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really, really pleasing result. I came to the end of a long, long, long series, and I saw Clam Lappers 50. I mean, just an amazing job. No, no, no. Some someone who's listening might get that reference. We'll see. But no, in all seriousness, I thought I was going to be the only person not talking about MMA in this section. After Lazy dropped it on me to think it was about 8:30 p.m. last night. So no, for me, Andor. If you're a Star Wars fan who's maybe fallen out with the way it's been taken since Disney took over, then go back, look and watch Andor. It is quite simply some of the best TV almost film that I've ever seen. And I'm not just talking Star Wars, I'm talking TV series. Even, I mean, effectively, each three episode arc is effectively a film. So you're getting 4 films this season, and they're all top quality. They all start off a little bit slow, but by the end they're worth it. Great character building, all the background and stuff. Everything about this season is so good. Tony Gilroy has taken control of the whole thing. The one thing he asked for was complete control. So Disney people like Catherine, what's her name? KK. I can't think of her name now.
Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy, thank you, Austin. Yeah, she's had no involvement in this, and it fucking shows because it's good. It's really, really, really fucking good. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Go and watch Andor. 2 seasons. If you haven't seen the first one, go and watch it. It's a bit slow, but it's well worth the effort.
Duly noted.
Yeah, I don't even watch Star Wars stuff, but you got me interested. All right, guys. Well, that was our What Else Did You Watch This Week segment. I guess after that, it is now time for us to get into some fight talk. So, first fight, guys, that we're going to get into, and it is the first fight of the main card, the first shaken up matchup of the night as well. Benoit Saint Denis back in the octagon off of 2 tough losses and looking to right the ship against short notice fill-in and local fighter Kyle Prepelec. If you listen to the preview show, the bite-sized preview show, I broke this down a little bit, so I won't get into too much detail, but a lightweight battle with a high potential of not going the distance. Mission accomplished for the former French Special Forces member. Words that sound like an oxymoron when placed together, but it's neither here nor there. After a bit of a pedestrian round number 1, things did quickly heat up in the second with a barrage of elbows and knees against the cage, followed by a brief tussle on the ground before BSD ultimately locked up the arm triangle for a submission win. Nice to see him back on the winning track, but this is an absolutely expected result. So, Austin, I hope that you have Prepelect an explanation for yourself. What do you got to say for being the only man on MK Discord to select Kyle in the predictions?
First, I'll explain. I had very little faith in Saint Denis, and it's not because I don't believe he's a decent fighter. I just felt like this was a trap fight, which the record shows it wasn't. So he did the safe thing. He legitimately just went in there and I thought he was going to swing and bang and get possibly clubbed and then go night, but that's not what happened actually. Matter of fact, he actually fought a smart fight. I went immediately into the grappling department and then immediately started, putting some pressure on him, just overpowered his opponent more or less and just made him look like a regional level guy. And Prepelic had been in the UFC. Unfortunately, it was 2-fight stint, but still, he showed, sometimes being a late replacement guy is not always the best option for your career. So Saint Denis gets an easy win. I would have liked to have seen him fight the actual guy he was going to fight and probably lose to. And that's probably where my mind was at when I was looking at this matchup. And I'm thinking, do I like BSD? I keep trying to say something else with his name, but what? Never mind that. I think I found myself in a moment where I'm like, I didn't trust him when I probably should have, especially against a late replacement. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. Good for him. Fucking hope he loses his next one.
Yeah, I don't think that was actually a bad assessment, really. Like breaking it down like that, yeah, it kind of makes sense because he had looked pretty rough in those last two, like I said, and it could have very easily been one of them fights where you underestimate your opponent and you end up getting your block knocked off again. But yeah, like I said, good to see him turn around. On the previous show, I compared it more to like a WWF squash match where like they bring in a local guy just to get beat up by the bigger star. But yeah, it could have gone either way at the end of the day. So what say you, DangerMouse? A short notice local fill-in. It seemed like a surefire St. Denis W. So what do you got for us on BSD versus Prepelic?
Yeah, well, I've been a long-time fan of BSD. It's been a shame when he's lost the last couple of fights he's been involved in. And I think this is why he just set out to completely dominate that first round. I actually thought he scored it a 10-8. I would have given BSD a 10-8. But on this case, the judges were not in agreement with me. I've just checked. They all gave him a 10-9. So not very exciting first round, but very, very disciplined from BSD. He just obviously wanted that win. And then in round two, I think you heard his corner talking to him in between rounds and maybe shouting at him once he stepped into the cage, like, fire things up, make this exciting, get back into being the warrior that you're supposed to be. And he delivered. He fucking delivered the, like, elbows that he was landing in round two. I don't know how many he landed, like 6 or 8 of them. They were just nasty. And then he got into he got the takedown from those. He caused Prepelic so much trouble that he let him grab hold of him, threw him down, and he got his arms into position for that arm triangle, stepped out of half guard, straight into getting that choke, sinking that choke in deep, and Prepelic really, really tapped very, very quickly. It was all over there. So yeah, great performance from BSD. What he needed. I don't really care too much about the competition he faced in this one. He might have been a late replacement, whatever, but nonetheless, this is what BSD needed for his confidence to get him back into fighting again and being the God of War again that we want him to be. So yeah, great job, BSD. I'm not going to take anything away from you. And he called out Gamrot as well afterwards. So yeah, maybe see that fight. Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah, he called for the man that like nobody wants to call for. Yeah, the boogeyman for a different reason than being extremely scary. He's just a boogeyman because nobody wants to get put through that mauling experience. Yeah, that's a good call out. I'm not mad at that. But yeah, it is nice to see BSD back on the winning trail, and it's not very often you get a literal get right fight in the UFC. So he needed to take advantage of it, and he did.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right, dudes. Well, I think that's all we got on that one. So let's move it along. How about a couple of ladies in a consequential flyweight matchup now? The former champ and a surging contender hooking them up for a scheduled 15-minute affair. It was Alexa Grasso taking on Team Dave, number 2 draft pick, Natalia Silva. Big title implications, obviously, in this one, depending on what happened later in the night. So how would this 125-pound pairing shake out? Completely and utterly one-sided. That's how a sound and decisive win for Silva, who nets herself the biggest victory of her career and 15 points for Super Dave. The speed, the accuracy, the taekwondo footwork, it was all on display. A real showcase for the youngster who now climbs further up the rankings. Danger, you get to go first on these feisty flies here. It's your favorite ladies division for reasons. So what were your thoughts on the fight, and what do you reckon is next for the winner, Natalia Silva?
Okay, this one was fun, obviously, as you said. Ladies flyweight, my favorite division for reasons. Yeah, 13 is an unlucky number for some people, but it wasn't for Natalia Silva in this fight because that was her 13th win in a row, I believe. Just never mind Shakira. Someone put Silva's hip feints to music because that girl was just dancing in that cage in the first round, turning ankles over, flicking her ass around or whatever the hell you want to call it. Obviously, it was feints. It was just amusing to watch. That's kind of what I took from it. But she was moving very well. That was a thing that she did throughout the entire fight. She had the speed advantage, and she kept the fight when she wanted to, mainly at kicking range. She was dancing around that inside the tram lines for a lot of it, I think. But she was quite happy to be there because Grasso just couldn't work out which way she was going to go, so she couldn't line her up for any of her shots. And Grasso just wasn't able to impose any of the game that she wanted to impose on Silva upon her. She tried a couple of times to grapple with her, which was maybe kind of surprising. I don't know. And she didn't really do anything with that. She couldn't get her punches off because at one point she was eating Silva's foot in the front of her face. And it's like, yeah, Silva performed very well with their TKD, Taekwondo, and looked great. Great performance from her. Obviously, Silva is now going to be looking at moving up somewhere in the division and getting a crack at someone, I'm guessing inside the top 5 to maybe get a shot at the title. But then again, Grasso was ranked number 1 before this fight. So does Silva now earn the next title shot? I wouldn't have any objection. Should I mention my girl now or not? No, I'll save her. I'll save her for later. But yeah, great performance by Natalia Silva. I picked her on the Discord. I was very happy. I could easily see her beating Grasso, and she did. So yeah, great job.
I mean, she looked so fucking fast out there. She was so fleet of foot and just quick to skirt in both directions. And I believe it was Dom Cruz that was pointing it out on the broadcast, and it was so true. Like at moments, I was having flashbacks to a couple of weeks ago in the Yusuf Salal fight, but this was a different situation because she wasn't just avoiding and being defensive. She was pulling Grasso into those strikes. She was leading her and leaning her and just smacking her with fucking left hooks and kicks, and it was a very impressive showing. But yeah, this is kind of why I asked what comes next with Silva, because she's likely going to move up somewhere near that very top spot in the division. But things are going to get a little bit murky because what happens next with Valentina, which is what we're going to have to get into later. There's talks of the super fight and what she does after that. Who knows? So if you're Natalia Silva on this hot streak, doing as well as you are with this momentum, do you want to wait around for that? It's a peculiar situation to be in. Okay, well, Austin, we heard from our flyweight aficionado on what you do with the winner, but what do you got for us on this scrap and the next step for the loser, Alexa Grasso? A tough second loss in a row for the former champion.
Yeah, nah. I mean, what do you say that isn't more of a disappointment pointing statement? Because it's like she just regressed. Like, I think the sad truth of the fact is for Grasso is that when Alexa won the title, that may have been the worst thing that happened to her career because she has not been the same fighter since then. Think about it. She wasn't like a heralded fighter when she moved up to flyweight. Matter of fact, she was kind of there out of necessity because she missed weight more than once at 115 pounds. Didn't look like a killer at 150 pounds. She was coming in as a jiu-jitsu practitioner that had a decent boxing skill, but they didn't really show up until she started moving up to flyweight. And even then, she kind of slowly and steadily ended up in the title fight, in which case most of us picked against her. I mean, shout out to Jed Bashu, who had he put so much money on Valentina and fucking, shit. She choked her out, man. She did the thing. But since then, she hasn't improved. What we've seen from her that actually showed that she's still capable of winning the title back? Nothing. Matter of fact, she got a draw in the rematch and then got completely fucking wrestled to death by Valentina in the third fight, right? Like, and then this fight just proves the point. She had no head movement, and the head movement that was there was fucking like terrible. She literally just plodded forward as if someone forgot to tell her, "Hey, we need you to cut the cage off." What did she do? She couldn't actually even do that because she was being led into strikes from Silva. Half the time, she's just accepting the position that she's in and eating strikes. She fucking barely threw in the first round. Like, what are we doing here, dude? And then on top of it, Silva, I'm not going to take anything from her. Like, great, great performance. But this is more of the point where it's like, she's number 13. There should have been a point where Grasso at least instigates some offense that forces Silva to actually adjust. But no, not even that, dude. It's almost like someone said, "Don't worry, you're doing fine." And they're lying to her because they couldn't fucking get her to do shit. And then when she does, she's literally charging forward into desperate takedowns. That's not something she's good at. And then she fucking gets fucking clipped fucking 5 times trying to swarm Natalia, and she eats like 7 punches in a row. Like, and she couldn't even really land on a consistent basis. So it's like, I don't know what happened, but god damn it, she just went from like being at the top of the food chain to now fucking just possibly being in the bottom of the top 10. Like, that's it. I don't think Silva gets a a number 1 ranking after this because I think that goes to Blanchfield. And then Jasmine also got a win on this card as well, so that changes everything. You also have to rank Mano Fiora in there as well. So within that, she's in the top 5 now for sure, but I don't think she's number 1. As far as Gross was concerned, this is very concerning because she's not that old. This regression shouldn't be with the thing we're seeing. We should see some kind of a bounce back. Hopefully she pulls it together, man. Because I don't know what we do with her after that. Congrats to Silva though. She looked remarkably good.
Yeah, man, I think you're kind of preaching there. I mean, you're serving the cold hard truth, but it is the truth. My main takeaway for Grosso's performance last night is it's kind of a shadowing of her teammate and one of her coaches, Diego Lopez, his performance recently. For both of them, coming from the same gym, Lobo Gym down in Mexico, which is a boxing-centric gym, they do a terrible, terrible job at corralling their opponent, at cutting off their opponent. It's like you said, Austin, it's just either plodding forward or following them. And man, did Natalia Silva expose that last night. She really, really did. So what we do with Grosso going forward is going to be very interesting and possibly a bit troubling because 31 and to be regressing like this could be tough. But anyways, let's not rain on her parade too much. Let's move it along to the third fight of the main card, aka the feature bout, and another one with some last-minute reshuffling. What was intended to be a bantamweight matchup becomes a featherweight pairing when Jose Aldo Jr. struggles making weight for his fight against Ayman Zahabi. Like I said on the bite-sized preview show, a bit of a head-scratcher here with no real benefit for either party, especially considering it wouldn't even take place in their actual weight class. Oh shit, I didn't even know what to say about this one, but a strong Aldo round number 1, a 50-50 round number 2, and then a third round that started out very Aldo and ended very, very Zahabi. In the end, the nod goes the way of the Canadian, and the Brazilian lays down the gloves again. No special. We're giving you the first crack at this one. One of the greatest of all time here. Still fighting at 38, maybe older, depending on who you believe. And taking on meaningless opponents in bouts that have no importance. So I'm not sure why this fight happened, but I certainly didn't need to see it. That's my take. What do you got for us on Aldo versus Zahabi?
I feel like I have to make this statement first. For those that are uninitiated, for the uninitiated here, where the new fans in the landscape of MMA these days, who are saying that Jose Aldo was never that good, you can go fuck yourself. Realistically, if you don't know, now you know. This dude used to be the fucking guy that was a boogeyman of the division at 145 pounds. Nobody was happy to fucking fight him. And he was the standing longest reigning featherweight champion of all time. What are we doing here? He is by far one of the most accomplished featherweights. And honestly, he has a real good argument for being one of the best bantamweights at a time where he was past his prime. Like this dude, you can't say enough good things about Jose Aldo, regardless of where he is in his career. The man fucking put everybody down. Everybody down. But everybody was more afraid of his goddamn leg kicks than his boxing. His fucking boxing was good too. Dangerous man. He's the man that said if that man was, Anderson Silva once said, if that man was in my division, I would probably retire. That he said that. That says a lot. But neither here nor there. Jose Aldo showed up in less than stellar shape, honestly. Like you could tell, like he struggled at certain points in this fight, and it just legitimately made us question, like, what are we doing here? Who booked this? Who do we have to go to their house and fucking egg their house and whatnot? Eggs are expensive, so that means something now. But realistically, dude, like, what do we? Why? It's not like Ayman Zahabi like is a new up and rising contender. He's the same goddamn age as Aldo. You know? Yes, Zahabi has a fucking win streak right now, but like, god damn it, man, who fucking asked for this? Like, how the Jonathan Martinez and Mario Batista fights made more fucking sense than this. And even then, you had an argument against him beating fucking Batista. He had it. He was winning this fight, but god damn it, he had this one fucking miss up. He couldn't finish the fucking fighter, and because of that, we get a questionable scorecard. You can honestly score it for Aldo, and that's fine. But god damn it, man, maybe this is fine. Because realistically, well, because we had talked about this prior, Aldo didn't need to come back. Aldo is beloved everywhere he goes. Aldo comes back, beating somebody. Jonathan Martinez in Brazil, fucking, fights Mario Batista. Should have won that fight, but whatever. And then he fights Zahabi. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you didn't need to come back for this. But again, as Lazy will probably point out later, he was here. This is the fights that he was given, and unfortunately now I think we may have come to the end of whatever this was. It's unfortunate too, because he looked pretty goddamn good. There were shades of the old Aldo that were there. It's unfortunate that he had to miss weight. Technically he didn't because they bumped it up, but still, like, that wasn't a good sign. And then just everything else that happened afterwards, it was just like, and I can't even take anything away from Ayman Zahabi here, dude. Like, 37 on a 6-5 win streak. That says something in this division. But still, like, this isn't the Aldo of old. This is the Aldo that's still trying to figure out what he's doing. And unfortunately, this just proves the point that, like, maybe we shouldn't have tried this to begin with. Congrats to Zahabi. He got a win. Hopefully this carries him to a contender fight soon. If he fights sooner than a year from now. But, this is just more. I wished Aldo had gotten the finish, so that way maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. But he's now 1-2 in his last 3, and that's not good.
Yeah, man, it sucks kind of all around because it's really a lose-lose for everyone. We had to see one of our favorites, one of the most beloved fighters on the roster, or one of the most beloved fighters of all time. We had to see him lose and go out in a bad fashion. And Ayman Zahabi really doesn't get too much shine from this because he beats an Aldo that's not getting a lot of credit from the casual fan base. And, he also kind of got screwed because Jose Aldo decided that, or the doctors decided that Jose Aldo had to stop cutting weight the night before at 9 p.m. The night before weigh-ins. And from what I understand, Ayman Zahabi had already cut to around like 136.8 pounds or something like that. So he was virtually all the way down to bantamweight. And then, yeah, man, things got switched up on him. So he kind of gets screwed here. But I don't know, man. I guess we just got to look at it for the positives and wish the best for Aldo, and then hope that Zahabi does get something out of this win. But DangerMouse, a Brazilian legend and a 37-year-old Canadian prospect stepped into the cage in Montreal. So what did you think of Jose Aldo taking on Ayman Zahabi in a bantamweight bout that ended up a featherweight and finished with some crazy cards?
Well, first off, everyone should check into this week's Sunday Night Scuffle because there's going to be, I think, some more discussion on this, on Aldo, certainly involved on that show. I was doing my picks as the weigh-ins for this card were going on. And I saw that Aldo had missed weight. I didn't know anything about the previous, that it had gone off since the previous evening or whatever it was. But Aldo just looked like a skeleton stepping onto the scales, and I was like, he does not look well. And I know Lazy spotted that I was making my picks at that moment and thought I was changing my pick because he was like, "You've just changed, haven't you?" I was like, "No, no, no. I'm literally just making mine now." But other people jumped ship at that exact moment, so it wasn't by any means me alone that was thinking that Aldo looked bad at that moment. I don't think. Yeah, we had these are both older fighters, but Aldo's the oldest, and as the years pile up, especially at these lower weight classes, those years make a difference. You know, and this is a game of millimeters, centimeters, inches. And Zahabi pushed the pace. I thought he made Aldo work. I haven't checked the judges' scorecards. I'm guessing Aldo won the first round and Zahabi won the next two. Uh, I don't know how Zahabi ate that kick that he ate in the third round. Uh, I thought he'd missed. I thought Aldo had missed until I saw the replay. I was like, "Oh no, shit! You wrapped your shin around his around the side of his face." So yeah, all credit to Zahabi there for surviving that blow. And then I think it was like the third round. Aldo just looked up at the clock, and there was still 3 minutes left to go. And Zahabi noticed it as well. He almost landed a very nice straight right on Aldo at that moment, if I recall correctly. Aldo just narrowly avoided it, but he looked exhausted from that moment on, and it ended up on the ground. We had that vicious ground and pound from Zahabi, but he was knackered as well. He couldn't really pile it on. He sliced the top of Aldo's head open with a couple of elbows, but there's no doubt whatsoever these guys both left it all in the cage. We didn't get a finish, but nonetheless, that's the case of it. I think a lot of people, Aldo included, were upset that he hadn't won. I'd actually given the fight to Zahabi, but I freely admit I was biased. I'd picked Zahabi, obviously. So, and Aldo, we all know the lighter weight classes are not my favorites, so I don't have that attachment to Aldo. I know he's a legend. Sad to see him go. It always is with these guys, but it doesn't affect me that greatly personally. Good job, Zahabi. I guess that means he takes Aldo's place, even though it was a catchweight competition. Maybe he gets a shot at the top 10. No idea. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't object to it. I mean, if they're going to do anything with him, they're going to have to do it soon because he is 37 years old at fucking bantamweight. And as we know, that's not the easiest situation to be in. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, at least there was some very good scenes at the end of this fight. Some great photographs came out of it. There's some good shots of Aldo laying on the ground, getting elbowed, and the blood streaming across the back of his head. And it's reminiscent of Austin. You know, the Stone Cold Steve Austin in the sharpshooter with the blood streaming down his face. It was on many
Yep.
T-shirts.
Yep.
Yeah, just a classic moment. Even in a loss, it's a memorable moment, and the toughness of Aldo, and then also my favorite moment after the fight was over, both of them on their coach's shoulders being trotted around the cage triumphantly with their arms in the air. So, I mean, yeah, sucks to see a legend go, but these things happen. It's the nature of the game. We'll see what happens going forward. You never know. Never know. But that does lead us into the co-main for UFC 315, the long-awaited matchup for the women's flyweight title. And I say long-awaited because many people felt the challenger was the rightful next contender long ago. It was Manon Fior stepping into the octagon in French-Canadian territory for her first UFC title shot, and it would come against a female that most consider one of the best women's mixed martial artists of all time, Valentina Shevchenko. This one would see 25 minutes of back and forth combat, go figure. But in the end, the nod would go the way of the reigning champion Valentina as she garners another ruby for her title. I think she's working on the second plate now. Whew, crazy. But yeah, a solid showing for Fior, who, likely to see a fairly difficult climb back to the top at 35 years of age. But another one for the resume of the longtime elite women's fighter Shevchenko. Back to the flyweights, and we are back to DM. The big gold on the line here for the ladies. What are your takeaways on this 125-pound title fight that went 5 grueling rounds?
Yeah, we had Val landing that nice right hand on the bridge of Manon's nose in the first round. Really bloodied her up, and I thought it was looking like we might get a moment like we did with Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje, where you get a broken nose and it affects the entire course
Yeah.
of the fight. But we didn't, as it happened. Manon came back in the later rounds. I haven't checked the judges' scorecards for this one. I actually had it even going into the going into the fifth round. I thought whoever won the fifth was going to win the fight, and I thought that Manon was going to be grinding her way to the win when she had a Val up against the cage. And I don't know whether it was when they broke free and Val landed a couple of extra shots that won the fight for her, or whether the judges had already given her 3 of the rounds and the fifth round didn't make a difference to her. But yeah, if Manona had won this fight, I wouldn't have objected. Valentina won it. I don't really object to her winning it either. It's close enough. As far as my girl Dakota is concerned, I think what we saw was Valentina, who was getting on a bit, and Manon, who's not a young lady by any means. So these are 2 old ladies that the young lady that's coming up from PFL would batter the shit out of right now, quite frankly. I just don't. I know Manon's a great striker, but I just don't see it. I don't think she's got what it would take standing there with Dakota. I really, really don't. And same with Shevchenko. There was and I made a note of it during round 3. Manon managed to get into a tie clinch as she started landing a couple of knees up into Shevchenko's belly and chest. And I was thinking, what the fuck would Dakota do to her here? She would not have let go. Those knees would have kept coming until Shevchenko had broken free or done something else. And yeah, don't get me wrong, Shevchenko is she's one of the greatest female fighters of all time, but everybody has their moment, and I'm afraid hers is coming to an end if she doesn't retire before to get to the UFC, which I'm hoping she will be there by next year. And I'll leave it at that for now. I've got more to say on the women's flyweight later.
Yeah, I would not object to seeing that fight. Yeah, very good points, very good analysis. Things could have gone crucially wrong for Val if that was Dakota in that clinch, because she was throughout the night landing a lot of knees in that clinch, and even elbows on the exit from the clinch. And yeah, things could have got real dicey if that was our old Triple D in there. But anyways, Austin, flyweight title on the line, a fight to decide many things in the division moving forward. Let us hear your analysis on the co-main event between Val and Manon.
First off, I realized this was the Dakota Decheva talking hour, but not here today.
Always a Dakota hour.
That's fair. I can't argue that. But no, like I had picked against this, so this is me going 0-4 on the night. God damn it. Here's the thing, man. I definitely thought Shevchenko would have shown some wear and tear, but she didn't. You couldn't argue against her performance because realistically, like even Mouse, I thought it was a close fight as well because Mouse said he had added 2-2 going into the fifth. I thought it was around that as well going there, and yeah, Val just probably just put more effort into, hey, we need to just kind of put her in a dirty fight, make sure she understands what being in a tough fight is, because that's what it looked like. If I'm not mistaken, a majority of her fights, she's usually the one. Manon Fiorot is the one leading the dance, right? She's putting pressure, she's counter striking. She doesn't really get hit that often, and she doesn't really take a ton of adversity. And she had been off for a year. That was probably the biggest red flag that I didn't pick up on. And on top of it, too, when she was getting hit, she didn't really react well. She kind of grimaced every time she got hit. I'm not going to say, oh, you can't really, you have to put on a brick face and just accept all the damage that comes to you. Act like it doesn't. No, but if it hurts, it hurts. I'm not going to tell you not to, react. But she definitely reacted, and it wasn't good. Every time she got hit or dropped or hurt or whatnot. And yeah, the minute she got her nose busted, I don't know if it was broken or not, but that definitely played with her head a little bit. You could see it. Her tempo kind of changed up. She got back in the middle of the fight, but she she struggled to keep a consistent, game plan together. She had a hard time wrestling. She had a hard time being in the clinch, even though Val was shorter than her. And Val honestly just is a well-rounded fighter. When she needed to change the momentum of the fight, she did. When she needed to lead, she did. When she needed to kind of pull back and let Mano kind of put pressure on her and then counter, she knew what she needed to do for this opponent, and she looked pretty damn good. I can't take anything away from Val. I would probably say Manon had more issues that played out in the fight than I had predicted that would be the case, and it showed. She had one 5-round fight before this, and it wasn't like that one was a barn burner either. It showed there were signs there that maybe she might have not been ready for this, but she tried. She gave a decent effort in the fact that this was her first title fight for the promotion. But again, maybe I was misreading some of the signs going into this, but she definitely Val showed why she's one of the best female fighters in the in the division and in UFC. So congrats to her. Mano will come back, and I would like to see Dakota inside the division sooner than later.
I would like to award a Just Bleed Radio $50,000 performance bonus to Valentina Shevchenko because I'm pretty sure last night, from what I can recall, she did not attempt a single head and arm throw. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember one.
I don't believe that was the case. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. So she deserves a bonus for that. Real quickly, though, before we wrap up on this co-main event, I just want a quick yes or no answer from you guys. Because last night, after the fight, the 115-pound champion, Zhang Weili, would tweet, and she would say, "Congrats to the champion. Everything is lined up perfectly. It's destiny." Do you think, yes or no, is Valentina Shevchenko's next fight Zhang Weili? DangerMouse, yes or no?
Ooh, I hadn't heard about that at all. Yeah, why the hell not? We've had plenty of attempts at double champs in the male division, so Weili's a great fighter. I've just said that Valentina's just kind of exceeded my expectations. I thought she was going to lose. A lot of people on the Discord thought she was going to lose. I forget who it was now. Someone was defending her, saying, "Why the fuck are you all saying Val's going to lose this one?" And I defended her. I defended Manon why she was going to win it. So yeah, Val deserves a shot. If Weili wants to come up and have a go, and Val's up for it, yeah, sure, why not? Have a go.
All right. Austin, what do you think is the next fight for Valentina Shevchenko? The double title fight against Magnum Zhang Weili.
I think it is because those are their two more dominant and popular women's fighters right now, and they need them to,
in the UFC.
That's it. There it is. Yeah, no, I think they do it because right now there's not like a clear number one contender for Valentina. Unfortunately for Weili, that means that Jandiroba is left sitting on the sidelines again. So we'll see what happens. I think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think financially it's the move for the UFC, and I think that's the move they're probably going to make. I just wonder, do we see it before the year is up? I would like to see that fight before 2026.
I think they do it, yeah.
Finally, fellas, we reach the crescendo of the evening. Your main event, reigning champion Bilal Muhammad looked to earn his first title defense against a bit of a surprise opponent, I guess you could say, in Australia's Jack Della Maddalena. There was gold on the line, but also major fantasy draft points at stake for one no special. Now, after yet another 25-minute battle, Bruce Buffer would utter the words "and new" as the 170-pound strap was wrapped around the waist of JDM. After one of the more back-and-forth wars of 2025, Jack pulls out the decision W, setting up some interesting movement in the welterweight division going forward. It's only right and it only makes sense. The man that has to go first on this one must be Austin. Now, your 7th-round draft pick made the walk, looking to chalk up his first defense. Unfortunately, the former champ displayed some questionable decision-making and allowed this one to get away from him. What were your thoughts on the performance of both men in this main event?
Insert the meme of me saying, "God damn it," multiple times throughout the night. the truth of the matter is that Bilal was saying all week and pretty much leading up into the title fight, I'm going to show off these Canelo hands. I'm going to do the Canelo thing. Fuck, don't, please don't. What I said, but fucking hey, dude, he showed that he was competent in the striking department. He just didn't utilize his grappling that led him to beat Leon Edwards. And I'm not going to say that they're both same style strikers between Jackie Three Names and Rocky, but unfortunately, one is not the other, and one of them just happened to be better at the striking, and it showed. Like legitimately, every time Bilal, other than the first round and the fifth, you can argue that like Bilal pretty much was playing catch up in the striking department from the get go, and realistically, it showed that Jack Della Maddalena was prepared as well as one could be for this fight. I just didn't anticipate Bilal sticking to the game plan of only striking, because you could see when he did commit to the ground grappling in the fifth, it showed that he could have been doing something similar to that and forcing the fight to be harder for Jack, like Burns did. But for some reason, he's like, no, I'm going to just first 4 rounds. If I take a shitty shot, I'm not going to commit to it. I'm just going to force him to react. But he couldn't get Jack to commit to sticking to the defense of the wrestling, because what did Bilal do? Oh, I'm going to just keep striking with this dude, despite him being caught like slightly better than me. And he got into the headspace of, I'm going to strike with this guy. And he was doing pretty fine at some points. Jack's face says it. I mean, his nose was already flat, but still. But that's the thing. Like, you can tell, like, he tried. He tried to do the thing that he said. It's just baffling to me that he didn't commit more to the wrestling. Somebody said it on the Discord, too. Like, we're referring to the MK Discord a lot, but I think it was Lasky. He said, this tale is all this time. Man grapple, man win, man happy. Man grapple, man win, man happy. Man, he gets a. I forget what the rest of it said, but essentially, man dinks him and fucking gets a win, man happy. Man forget how to wrestle. Man lose, man sad. It's pretty much what played out, That's the thing. I wish he would have done more wrestling, because he might have actually won this fight had he done that. Made it a little more ugly in the grappling department, because that's what he used to beat a better striker in Rocky. And Leonardo, again, I said Leon Edwards is not, Jack Della Maddalena, but hey, they wouldn't have hurt to commit more to the wrestling, because that's your bread and butter. But for some reason, he had it in his head that I was going to strike. And it looked like he was trying to do the company man thing. Be excited. Go out there. He got to walk out with the flag that he wanted, the Palestinian flag. Good for him. That was fucking awesome. But it showed that I think he had an idea of what he wanted to do, and unfortunately, he forgot that he is not a striker first. So it's unfortunate, but them's the breaks. Congrats to Jack. God damn it. I thought I had more. I thought I had the points, but thank God I got the fucking fight of the night bonus. Otherwise, I'd be missing fucking 10. But whatever.
Seems like Muhammad said to his coaches that Della Maddalena is just too slippery. He's having a hard time getting hold of him. And his coaches said, "We don't give a rip. Go get him."
Yeah. See, for me, this was the perfect fight to use the prom date analogy. Basically, Bilal was a guy who had a long-term steady girlfriend all throughout high school. She wasn't the most flashy. She wasn't the best to look at, but she was always there, and she was dependable, and she was steady, and she did him right, and she served him well, and she was dependable. She was old reliable, and it was a perfect relationship, a perfect symbiosis, or whatever you want to call it. And then he got to the prom. He got to the dance. And just prior to getting to the dance, he got word from a girl that was kind of a hot chick. She was kind of really attractive, and she was sought after, and she was what everybody wanted. She was the hot commodity, and she was the thing that everyone was aspiring to have. And when he met her, she promised him a date. She promised him that she would be his date to the prom. So he left behind old Reliable, and he forgot about the one that got him to the dance to begin with. And he decided that he was going to go with the new hot chick. But the problem was when he showed up to the prom, she had stood him up and she wasn't there. And he was fucking left with nobody to dance with, fucking sitting in the corner. And this is what we're left with. We're left with a brand new champion and a Bilal Muhammad who's waking up today wondering, what the fuck did I do with my first title defense? What the fuck did I do with the game plan that got me here to begin with? Because that was not it. That was not the Bilal Muhammad that we've come to know. So I'm left with a lot of questions. DangerMouse, we got other questions as well because there's some major shakeups at 170 with this result. There's tons of questions and tons of possibilities that open up. So firstly, I'd like you to tell the folks what you thought of the fight, and then maybe give a little insight on what you think happens next in this welterweight title picture.
All right, off you go, you wannabe Dagestani. Just because you spent a few months there and became pally with Islam doesn't make you one of them. Get another 9 wins and you can have another crack at the belt. I said earlier this year that I'd watch the Leon Edwards fight if the nameless one defended his belt. So I'm never watching that fight then. Cheers, Jack. If we ever meet, I owe you a fucking beer, son. That fight was obviously just a glitch in the matrix, a bit of erroneous coding. For my description of this fight, you know who will be referred to as FFC, the future former champ. Yeah, this was just a pretty good performance from Jack Maddalena. I had a bit of fun because I picked the FFC on the Discord, on the MK Discord, but I went with Jack on Topology because I can have some fun with the picks over there. Whereas we have a Survivors League on who picks the main event champions. So I'd rather kind of guarantee, because everyone picked the FFC in this one, apart from long-time fan Larry. So shout out Larry, you had the courage of your convictions, even though you don't really do the picks on a great long-term basis. Yeah, JDM, 3-name Jack, just great performance. Never allowed FFC to back him up. He just kept him honest. I don't know which rounds FFC actually won. I think it was 48-47 on 2 judges' cards, and one guy gave JDM 4 of the rounds. I thought it was great coaching at just before the 5th round started by Jack's coach. He was like, you got 5 minutes to realize all your fucking dreams. Get out there and do it, and that's exactly what Jack did. He was taken down in that round, and it looked for a brief moment like he'd accepted the position there, and then his corner seemed to shout at him, and he slipped free and stood back up. Really good performance. I thought he'd won it. I wasn't 100% sure. Sorry, Lazy, because of the performance with the can of completely forgotten what questions you asked me there. What's next for Jack? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, but more or less, yeah. Just what's next at 170? Because ShavCAT's waiting in the wings, but things are still up in the air with his injury and whether or not he's going to be ready. You got Sean Brady coming off a win. Ian Gary weighed in as the backup fighter for this fight. He's hanging around there. You got Islam talking about coming up to 170. So what do you think is next?
Well, Ian Gary, shut the fuck up. I know you had a decent win last time following a decent loss. Yeah, you're not getting a shot at the belt next. ShavCAT obviously would favour me because I have him in my draft picks. So it'd be great for me to see him fight him. I thought he'd be picking the belt up at the end of the year, but JDM's managed to make things great for me and take it away from the most boring fighter in the UFC. Yeah, and Islam, yeah. Obviously, it looks now like he might move up and want a shot at the belt. And I can't see the UFC denying him if he does want it. Good fight. It's obviously has a bit of legacy now because there might be a bit of revenge because those two were a bit pally. So we could see that. ShavCAT deserves the next shot at the belt because he's already done the groundwork for it. But if he's injured and Islam is willing to step up, then he can get the shot first. I could be, because of the draft, I could be in a funny situation because by the end of the year, we could have Islam fighting ShavCAT. And I have both of those fighters in my draft pick. So on the right side, whichever one, one might lose 10 points, but the other one will win the belt. So it's not the end of the world. And that will probably be a fight of the night as well. So, like Austin, I'll probably get some extra points there. Congratulations on that, by the way, Austin. At least there's not as much of a flop as Alex did to poor old Lazy.
Yeah.
I got lucky that they gave them the fight of the night.
Yeah, you're damn right. You got lucky.
You did.
Yeah, JDM made that fight exciting, in my opinion.
That's blind. I wanted that. Get the fuck out of here.
Let's be honest, the nameless one had to take a beating to make it an exciting fight.
Oh, you can see Jack's face. Like I said, his nose was already flat by the time he got in there, but still, he was in a fight.
Yeah, it was a war. It was a war. I think that this is just my take. Here's what you do: you let Islam move up. You let him fight Jack for the 170-pound title. You let that go down, because that's just a phenomenal pairing and matching, and it gives Islam what he wants. And it's exciting for the fans. And then why don't, since they're both hanging around, they're not going to have much to do as they wait, do the Bilal ShavCAT that was initially slated to happen anyway. Let those two slug it out for, virtually a number one contender shot for who's after Islam.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna.
Why should ShavCAT have to beat somebody who's already lost to getting a shot at a belt that the guy just lost? No.
Well, if he doesn't fight Bilal, he's probably going to fight Ian Gary next. So.
No, he can do that.
Oh no, they already fought. Son of a bitch, they're not going to rematch that.
That's true. Yes, they did. Yeah. What are you on about?
Well, you could do
Leon,
Ian Gary versus Sean Brady, and then you could do ShavCAT in the wings, and then have the if Buckley beats Usman, you can put him up against Bilal. If not, and then if Usman wins, then he's back into the title mix. Why not just put him against Bilal? Actually, the winner of that fight versus Bilal. Fuck it.
This is what I'm saying. You see, there's the web is so tangled now. It's going to get very interesting in the coming months.
Yes,
because we haven't even mentioned the man that fights in the main event next week, Super Dave's Michael Morales, who is surging in the division as well. It's going to be interesting. Anyways, we got to wrap this up, though, for the sake of time. But as per usual, you guys know what time it is now, because there's at least a handful of fights from this undercard that we must touch on, even if we don't have time for all of them. So, boys, here is your opportunity to spotlight whichever fight from the preliminary portion of the night that you wish. It's our best of the rest. Mouse, let's go ahead and hear from you first. Many fights to choose from, but which would you like to comment on today from the prelims?
I think anyone who's been following the draft knows which way I'm going to be going on this one. Just let me scroll through my notes and find out where I am. I will say I had a special celebratory dinner today because of the results of the main event and because of the results of this fight. I will post a picture later. Now, the Beach Boys sang about California girls, but I'm very happy with my Canadian girls. Yeah, last week I had Gillian Robertson bringing home the Canadian bacon, and this week I had Jasmine Jasdavicius not only winning, but winning in style and claiming a genuine MMA scalpel on the way by beating Jessica Andrade. I thought it was a great takedown by Jazz in the first round. She just picked Andrade up, slammed her down with absolute ease, and then it was no problems whatsoever after that. She grabbed dominant position, sunk the hooks in, took the back, flattened Andrade out, and just sunk in that RNC. And you saw just Andrade was like, shit, I'm in trouble now. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to tap now. So, yeah, great job by Jasdavicius. Second win this year. So my Canadian girls just reaping those draft points in for me. And she got a black belt as well, which was fantastic. Honestly, kind of makes a change for a fighter to be given a black belt for a sub win. I've seen far too many handed out for just winning. But when you get a sub against Jessica Andrade, then hell yeah, give that girl a black belt. Also got a 50k performance bonus, which more importantly got me in total 25 points on the draft, which I believe I didn't realize beforehand, now puts me in the lead. So yeah, 5-fight win streak for Jasdavicius, heading towards a title shot at flyweight maybe. Has a whole bunch of options for her next fight. I've no idea if any of these fights are already booked, but there's Rose Namajunas, who's still inside the top 10. Macy Barber, Erin Blanchfield, both of those girls are inside the top 5. So that would obviously get Jasmine into the top 5 with the win. So we won't. I doubt we'll see it this year, but we might well be seeing a fight for a belt in 2026, which I didn't expect when I picked her. I picked her because she fights a lot, and God damn it, she's fought a lot this year. And I think we might still see another fight for her before the end of the year. So yeah.
Yeah.
She might be the MVP in this entire fucking draft pick.
Yeah, the unexpected MVP. It's very possible. She did look good. All right, well, Austin, that's one option off the board, but still many choices for you. Which of these undercard bouts from 315 would you like to highlight?
Forgive me, I can't remember his name, but he got a knockout at the beginning of the night. Matter of fact, it was the opening card against Brad Katona. Almanac.
Yes,
Bezak?
Almacan.
Almacan.
Best cat Almacan.
Yep.
Bezcat Almacan. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name, but for the life of me. But I remembered him because he specifically gave Usman one of his toughest fights before he fought Merab and Corey Sandhagen. He legitimately dropped him and made Usman have to fight a hard fight. This kid knew how to fucking hit, and he proved that point. And it's not because I didn't think Brad Katona was a good fighter. I mean, I legitimately thought, unfortunately for Brad Katona, he's fallen on some hard times in this fight, and legitimately, he just kind of found the wrong opponent. And this Kazakhstani is a surreal deal. I think he's going to be on his way to a title fight. I think within the near future. I would just like this dude to fight more often because he has the skills. He's very capable in this division. I just wish this man was more willing to fight more often. Unfortunately, hell, if he could give Usman his toughest fight, one of his tough fights, and kill a contender like Katona, yeah, this guy's got talent. This guy's got talent. That's all.
I don't got nothing written down, but I would be remiss if I did not show some love and give some props to Mike Malott, who knocks out one of the biggest turd sandwiches on the roster, Buff Cuccolo, Chuck Cuccolo, Charles Radke, Chuck Buffalo. Yeah, knocked him unconscious, bounced his head off the mat several times. Was very happy to see that. So good for you, Mike Malott. Nice to do it in front of your hometown crowd.
That was a good fight. I enjoyed that one.
It was. Okay, well, we can't possibly wrap up an edition of the Weekend Roundup without pausing for a JBR mainstay from day one. With each event that passes, we gather around, we put our heads together, and we rate that card. Woo! All right, I'll go first because the host never does. Host never goes first around here, but short and sweet. 5 finishes for the first trip back to Montreal in 10 years. A couple of fun scraps despite going to decision. Also some intriguing possibilities of what happens in 3 or even 4 divisions going forward with women's strawweight, women's flyweight, the lightweight division, and the welterweight division. So I guess I can't hate on it too much, but lately I keep finding myself wanting more from these main cards on pay-per-views. So I can't be too generous, but I'll keep with the running theme lately and give it a 6.5 again. We'll throw you in the middle, DangerMouse, and let you get your waffles all situated. Hit us with your Danger Decimal System score for this UFC 315 card.
Okay. I actually thought of giving this one a ridiculously high score just because of the fact that three-name Jack won the main event. I almost considered giving it a 9.99, but I'm not going to do that on this occasion. But it was a good card. I enjoyed it when I finally got around to watching it. Main card was pretty good. Main event was good, despite me wanting to hate it almost. Despite the result of it, it was a good fight. I'll give the other guy that much credit. Co-main could have been better, but it was okay. Zahabi Alwa was decent. Silva, okay. Yeah. I'm talking myself down now because I thought it was better than it was. Maybe it's another one of those where the prelims were a little bit better than the main card in certain respects. Nonetheless, I will give it an 8.11 just to fuck around with things.
Jeez. All right. Well, Austin, that means it's up to you to wrap us up nice and pretty on this card. So set down that juicy IPA or maybe coffee at this hour. I'm not sure. But give the bleeders your final rating on UFC 315.
Yeah, it would have been coffee, but something extra in there. The context for me is I may have gotten every single main card wrong, assigned wrong, but I still enjoyed it. Damn it. And that usually helps me. I might be like annoyed that I picked wrong, but the guys that picked, I wanted them to win, but they didn't. You know, it is what it is. I'll say it's like I won't go as high as 8, but I'll say like 7.5. 7.5 for me. Just because I still enjoyed the card, I still enjoyed the prelims as much as I watched them, but God damn it, I can't give it an 8. Only because I could not for the life of me get any of these goddamn picks right. So 7.5 for me.
A very reluctant 7.5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. What's up?
So I said I can't believe I've been the generous one for the last 2 weeks. I just enjoy your two suffering. I think that was what it must be.
You sadistic bastard.
Yeah. Sityodog this week. Yeah.
All right, guys, ladies and gents, it is time once again to say goodbye and part until next week. 60 minutes comes and goes so fast, unless you're watching back-to-back Shevchenko fights. Ooh. But join us back here next Monday morning, where DangerMouse will be hosting our coverage of Fight Night Burns versus Morales. Thank you all for watching, and make sure to smash that like on the way out. Till then, for no special, DangerMouse, Chatri, Steven, and ShavCAT, rather. That's my own cat. How did I fuck up his name? I'm LazyBed, and this has been the Weekend Roundup. We're out of here. Goodbye.
See you guys.
Later. Yeah, what's that? Yeah.
Black Russian time.
Shit. My cat's gonna be so mad at me.
What's that? It's my cat. What the fuck is his name?
Well, when I wrote it down in the script, I wrote it like actual ShavCAT the fighter, so I was like, I didn't write cat. Usually I spell it out like cat.
8/20th of an inch, whatever the fuck you want to say in America. For my description of this fight, you know who will be.
Okay. Fuck you.
Hey guys, this is LazyBed here. This is how I've always sounded since I came on this show.
That backfired. I was going to get Dave to count us in at 2 minutes there, but Austin came firing back, so.
Amos Canister. Oh, the UFC. They seem like a great acquisition to the company. Love these fighters just fucking bleeding everywhere. We can't air this. I can't lose my credibility.
As we saw earlier in the Montreal Screwjob, it was Sterling and who was it? Kuchalaba and Bukowskis.
Yeah.
The Montreal Screwjob earlier. You could be winning and not win.